Hello everyone. So in today's session, we will talk about user types in SAP. So what are the various user types in SAP that we have? And then when do we use the user in which scenario? So we will talk about user types in today's session. So let me take you to SU01. So I'm just displaying it. So if you go to log on data, so in here you will maintain the user type. And then if you see, these are the available user types that we have in the system. So this is important to understand what system, what user type does what, and then we need to understand in which scenario we use which user type. So in order to see the documentation for these user types, all you have to do is click on F1 key. So if you use F1 key, it will give you the documentation that SAP has provided for us to understand. So in order to simplify this, so when we talk about dialogue ID, right? So for example, me, I'm a dialogue ID. So all the employees, so we are kind of directly interacting with the system, and then we are inputting something, and then we're getting something as an output. So we're all dialogue IDs. Okay, used by one person only for all types of logon. During a dialogue login, the system checks for expired and initial passwords and provides an option to change the password. So when you're logging in for the very first time, once the security administrator creates your ID, and then if you pass on your user credentials, so when you log in with the password provided by the admin, so SAP will prompt you to change the password because you're the owner of your own user ID. So you'll have to essentially change your password, and also for in a timely manner, maybe in 60 days or maybe in 120 days or 90 days. So SAP will prompt you to change your password, okay, in order to be compliant. In order to be compliant, so SAP will request you to change the password. So that is all about dialog ID. So now, what is system ID? Okay, so why do we have different dialog, different user type as system? So what is the importance of it? So see, the use of the system ID is to is for internal system processes. For example, background processing or system-related processes, ALA, workflow, TMS, CUA, etc. So the dialog ID using SAP GUI is not possible. Okay, and user of this type is excluded from the general setting for password validity. Only user administrators can change the password using transaction SU01. Multiple logins are permissible. So what happens with when a user ID is set up as a system ID? So we have something called as background processing or background jobs in SAP. So when do we use it, and then why do we use it? So when we talk about background processing, right? So we have some kind of data that we need to automate it, and then it has to happen in the background without any user intervention. And then it's going to take some time. It's going to consume some time. And then ideally, we wanted to schedule these background jobs, when the during non-working hours, so that the system will be able to take up that load in order to run this particular background processing. So that you don't have to do anything. So you will schedule that as a background job, and then that automatically runs at the background by using a user with specific authorizations. Okay, so only in case of system process, when we talk about background jobs, we use the system user ID. And also for for workflow or for TMS, which is used for transport, and then CUA, central user administration. So in these cases, when you wanted to move the IDOCs from the CUA system to the connected systems, so we use this user type as system, and you'll not be able to log in by using a system ID. So you have to always reach out to the security team for changing your password. So that is the importance of system ID. So all you have to remember is this is used for background processing or system related processes within the system. Okay. So now the next user type is communication. So just by the name of this user type, so you'll be able to understand that communication for dialogue free communication between systems by using RFC, which is remote functional call. Okay. Dialogue login is also not possible in here. So for example, if you wanted to talk in between two SAP systems, let's say ECC and BW, so you wanted to send the information to BW system, So we'll be setting up a RFC connection. So that is in SM59 transaction code. We will talk about the transaction code in a different session. So for for performing some RFC calls between the systems, we use this communication user type. And then in the SM59, whenever the basis team is creating an RFC, so they used to maintain the communication user ID over there so that the communication will be established between two systems. So that is the importance of communication ID, and you will not be able to log on by logging into by you'll not be able to log into this particular communication user type. Okay, system will not allow you to do it, and you cannot change the password either. And then the fourth user type is service. Okay, so what is a service user ID? So the service type user is a dialog user, okay, that is available to a anonymous large group of users. Generally, this type of user should only be assigned with very restricted authorizations. Okay, so multiple logon is allowed by using this service ID. And during the logon, the system will not check, for any expired or initial passwords. So whatever the user administrator provides, so the team has to use the same password. Okay. So when we mean that this ID would be available to anonymous or large group of users, which means that, so ideally for testing purposes, we use service user IDs. So let's say we have a team, so we have a finance team, and they wanted us to create a particular role for performing their day-to-day activities. So now there's a group of 10 people within the same team, and they're in different time zones basically, and then they wanted to test the role that we have created. So instead of me creating 10 user IDs, right, I will probably create 2 or 3 user IDs with user type as service, and then I'll give a password. So I'll just share these IDs with the group of 10 people, so that during their own time zones they'll be able to log in with the same ID and with the same password that we have provided, so they don't have to fight in between their teams for getting the passwords. So by enabling this, they'll be able to test the role, and then they'll be able to share us the test results. So only for testing purposes we create service IDs, but like it said, so this multiple logons are allowed. So this ID can be shared with multiple people. So you're not supposed to give wider access into this service ID. You have to keep in mind that you're creating these IDs only for testing purpose. Okay, so that is the importance of service ID. And reference user. So this reference user is a tricky user. So this is not assigned to so like the service user, a reference user is a general user, not assigned to a particular person directly. So you cannot just simply say that you're a reference ID. So you have to tag this reference ID to a particular dialog ID. I'll show you where we do it. So you cannot log on by using a reference user. This reference user is only used to assign additional authorization. Reference users are implemented to equip internet users with identical authorizations. So this is not used in many of the clients. Okay, only in very few clients they would be using reference user type. So, but ideally speaking, so what it does is it only provides additional authorizations to an existing dialog ID, and you cannot simply log in by using a reference ID and password. You cannot do that. So how do we assign this reference ID authorizations to an existing dialog ID? So where do we do that is, so I'm an SAP screen. So I'm in SU01 screen. So I'm going into change mode. So go to the roles tab. So you have something called as reference ID, reference user here, right? So this is where we map the reference ID to this particular dialog ID. So these are all set up as reference IDs. So we'll be able to map any of the ID to this particular user. So the user will have access to this particular role that we have assigned in the roles tab. Along with this, the user will also get access to whatever this reference ID has. So if this ID has got 10 roles, so the user ID will get indirect access to use those 10 roles. So that is the concept of reference ID. So yeah, so back to the documentation. So that is all about reference ID. So try to go through this documentation, so which will give you more information. So overview of the properties of users of the different user types. So basically they're talking about the property like dialog login, SAP GUI. So if you can see, only a dialog ID and service ID can be able to log in by using SAP GUI, okay, graphical user interface. And then multiple logons or multiple logons possible with these IDs. So communication, yes, it is possible. System, yes, it is possible. And service, it is possible. But multiple dialog logins is not possible. Okay, RFC logon, so almost all. So reference ID, we're not even talking about reference ID because they'll not be involved in any of these processes. So RFC login, almost all. And background job execution, you'll be able to do it by using dialog. And by using communication, you cannot do it. And of course, system and service, you can do it. Password change, only in dialog, only in communication. It will prompt for password change. So let's go back here. So the general settings for the validity period of a password applied to users of this type can change their passwords like dialog IDs. The dialogs for changing the password must be provided by the caller. You can use the RFC function module or the RFC API function to change the password. So this cannot be done just simply like that. So it has to be used by using an RFC function module for changing, for prompting the password change in case of communication IDs. And login ticket can be generated. Yes, by using dialog and by using communication, login type can be generated. So this happens only when there is a password involved. Password change is involved. Okay. So this is all about your user types in SAP. So this is a very basic thing in SAP security. So you must be very precise in understanding the user types in SAP. Okay. If you have any questions, please leave your comments in the comment section, and I'll get back to you on your questions. Thank you so much for watching my videos. Stay tuned for more videos. Thank you for watching.